The most memorable secret in the Prestige is Tesla's machine.
It creates another Angier, turns a stage illusion into something physically impossible, and explains the row of drowned bodies hidden beneath the theater. But the machine is not the film's real trick. By the time it appears, both men have already accepted the same bargain: the performance matters more than the person performing it.
Borden divides one identity between two bodies. Angier creates two bodies and destroys one identity every night. The technology is different, but the principle is the same. Each man makes the sacrifice invisible so the audience can experience wonder without confronting the cost. The final twist does not reveal how magic works. It reveals what obsession is willing to erase. The opening itself proves this. The film begins with duplicated hats, a dead Angier, and Borden watching from beneath the stage, yet knowing these facts does not explain the story. The mystery survives because the important question is not what the machine produces. It is why either man would accept the conditions required to use it. Nolan places the answer in behavior rather than technology. Every successful trick in the film demands that somebody become less important than the illusion. Cutter explains that every magic trick has three parts: the pledge, the turn, and the prestige. But the film quietly adds a fourth element: the sacrifice the audience must not see. The bird disappears because another bird is crushed. The old Chinese magician performs weakness every hour of his life so one moment on stage can appear impossible. These examples are not decorative clues. They establish the moral rule of the story. A convincing illusion does not begin when the curtain rises. It begins when the performer reorganizes his entire life around what the audience is allowed to believe. That is why the crowd keeps asking where the vanished bird went, while the child understands immediately: the missing bird is dead. Wonder depends on looking at the returned bird instead of the broken cage. Cutter understands this distinction better than either rival. He builds mechanisms, but he also recognizes the ethical boundary between creating danger and turning death into routine. His final decision to help Borden is not merely revenge against Angier. It is a rejection of an illusion whose hidden cost has become the entire method. The engineer finally stops protecting the prestige because the secret no longer serves wonder, it only protects the man who keeps producing victims. Borden's secret is often described as dedication, but that word makes the arrangement sound cleaner than it is. The brothers do not merely take turns performing. They divide a single identity until neither man can claim an undivided life. Each must love a woman he does not always love, parent a daughter who cannot always know which father is present, and absorb the consequences of choices made by the other. One brother loses fingers so the wound remains consistent. One relationship feels genuine on one day and empty on the next. Sarah is not confused because Borden is emotionally complicated. She is reacting to two different men forced to maintain one emotional continuity. The transported man succeeds because the sacrifice is permanent. There is no backstage where either brother becomes whole again. The brothers also reveal why Borden repeatedly says that the secret is not enough. Anyone can be told that Fallon and Borden are twins, but the explanation sounds impossible because the spectators cannot imagine living the commitment. The trick is protected by disbelief. People search for a mechanical solution because a human being voluntarily surrendering half of every relationship seems less plausible than a hidden door. The method works precisely because its emotional cost exceeds what observers are willing to consider. Angier believes he wants Borden's method, but what he truly wants is Borden's certainty. He wants to know that he will be the man who appears across the stage and receives the applause. Tesla's machine cannot give him that guarantee. It creates another Angier, leaving both versions with the same memories and the same claim to being original. Every night, one man stands in the prestige while another falls into the tank. Angier admits that he never knew which man he would be. That uncertainty is what makes his version more horrifying than a simple murder machine. He does not sacrifice disposable copies. From the perspective of the man stepping into the machine, he risks becoming the drowning victim every single time. His applause is purchased with a repeated act of faith in which the self becomes expendable. This is also why Angier fills the abandoned theater with locked tanks. The bodies are not only evidence of murder, they are a private archive of the price he refuses to acknowledge in public. Each tank contains a man who believed he might be the one receiving applause seconds later.
Angier keeps performing because the surviving version inherits the memory of entering the machine but not the experience of drowning. The prestige continually rewards the self that remains and silences the self that paid. It is tempting to call Borden the authentic magician and Angier the fraud who buys a miracle.
But the film does not let either man escape judgment.
Borden understands the method and accepts a lifelong discipline, yet his secret destroys the people closest to him.
Angier lacks that discipline, yet his machine forces him into an equally absolute sacrifice. Borden loses wholeness, two men must pretend to be one. Angier loses continuity, one man becomes two, and one must die.
Borden's cruelty is distributed across years of divided affection. Angier's cruelty is concentrated into a repeated instant of drowning. Their rivalry is not a contest between real magic and fake magic. It is a contest over which form of self-destruction can produce the more convincing prestige.
Their differences still matter. Borden's arrangement begins as cooperation, while Angier's becomes competition between identical versions who cannot coexist. Borden's secret depends on trust between brothers. Angier's secret depends on ensuring that one version never leaves the box. Yet both systems collapse the distinction between tool and performer.
The body is no longer the person producing the trick, it becomes another component that may be injured, divided, imprisoned, or discarded whenever the illusion requires it. The machine matters because it makes Angier's illusion physically real.
But the film's final argument is not about technology.
Cutter tells us that the audience knows it is being deceived and still wants to believe. Borden and Angier exploit that desire by hiding the part no spectator would applaud: the crushed bird, the divided family, the missing brother, the drowning man, and the bodies beneath the stage.
Their greatest achievement is not making a man disappear. It is making the sacrifice disappear. Borden survives because one brother finally leaves the performance and returns to his daughter. Angier dies surrounded by the evidence he kept hidden from everyone, including himself.
The real trick in the prestige was never the machine. It was persuading the audience to stare at the miracle while the human cost remained in the dark. That final image of the tanks changes the meaning of the applause we have heard throughout the film. The crowd believes it witnessed a man defeat distance, but it actually witnessed a system for hiding death. In the same way, people around Borden believe they know one difficult man, while two men use that belief to conceal a divided life.
Both tricks succeed because spectators prefer a satisfying surface to an unbearable explanation.
The prestige is not the return of the object. It is the restoration of innocence after the sacrifice has already happened.